IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today's fun fact of the day has to do with human stupidity. Did you know that there is an award called the Darwin Award? And this is a fun, cheeky way of celebrating how stupidly we humans can behave sometimes. They award people who have either killed themselves or destroyed their genitals in the most stupid way possible so that they can't have children. So, for example, there was this man who took a live grenade, pulled the pin out, and then threw it. But he threw it out of a shut window of his car, so the grenade just bounced around inside the car. The reason they're called Darwin Awards is because these people leave the gene pool with their stupid acts. Now, I know some of you will be horrified by the idea of having an award for something like this, and I agree with you. These are an extreme example of the situation. But these awards were started way back in 1984. Nowadays, with cell phone cameras, we can see people doing these silly things all the time. And I was watching one such fail video the other day. In this video, these monstrous machines like cranes and trucks and diggers were causing havoc. All because of the stupidity of the person driving that machine. For example, there was this one man who was using this machine to pull down a tree. He was pulling this tree towards himself, and this huge tree came crashing down on him and the car. Then there was this other genius who was pushing a tree down with these machines. And he pushed it in the direction of his home. And this tree took this whole house down with it. Now, when I was in college, one of my favorite jokes was, if you have a loose nut in a car, which is the most dangerous nut to be loose? And then people would say things like, oh, the one that holds onto the tires, or the nuts in the engine. And the real one was the nut behind the wheel, the driver. This made me think about our lives. Who is in the driver's seat of our life? Is it a loose nut? Or is it a world-class driver or operator? You see, there are three things that create a world-class driver or operator. And we can learn these three things and make them habits. Because our lives are like these big, heavy machines. The first of these three is learning about the machine and knowing it inside out. Knowing the limitations, knowing how it functions. We must constantly be learning about life and our body. Our body is, after all, the vehicle that we use in life. Being a constant learner is critical. There is a reason why pilots need to keep going for those recertifications. There's a reason why doctors need to keep learning about the latest technologies. And the fact that you are listening to this podcast means that you understand this, that you need to grow your knowledge. The second of these three is knowing what the objective is and what direction you're headed in. Many of us are like these drivers that just drift off the road. We were heading in one direction and then we saw something to the left, maybe like a bird doing something funny, and we started driving off the road in that direction. Knowing where you're going and then focusing on that path is so important. The third is experience and practice. The more we practice using these tools, the better the chance of success. The more we practice, the better we get. This means that we need to learn to take action. We need to learn by doing. We cannot learn by just reading and intellectually understanding it. Practice it till it becomes easy. You see, these drivers and operators have great power at their disposal. They have the ability to build the tallest buildings and create the best cities in the world. Or they have the ability to drop a tree on their house or drive that digger into the river. The same machine can be used for creating something amazing and can be used for stupidity. The choice is yours. So your simple habit starts by realizing that you are the driver and operator of this amazing machine. You can think of this machine as your body. You can think of this machine as your life. But you are in control of both these things. Do you know how to use them well? Are you a superstar operator yet? If not, get into the habit of learning how to use it, knowing the direction in which you want to take it, and then practice. Remember, You are in charge of building something amazing or doing something stupid with it. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsor on the network this week, Credencia. Thank you so much for making this possible. On Cyrus Says, Cyrus was joined by actress Shreya Pilgaonkar to talk about her career in acting. On Begin the Journey, Ashish Vidyarthi lists down the modern concepts of friendship and how one can choose the right friend circle in life on Begin the Journey. On The Habit Coach, Ashdin Doctor was joined by Aisha Bilamoria to talk about running and developing an athletic mentality. Farhad and Sunitra are joined by LGBTQ workplace advocate Suresh Ramdas to discuss the new normal in queer relationships on GayBCD. On Tere Mere Raaste, Keshav Chaturvedi takes us to the riverbanks of Banaras and describes the soulful mornings to us. And finally, on the Positively Unlimited podcast, Chetna Chakravarti takes the fear out of the word responsibility. And with that, I hope to see you again next week.
Working Monday to Friday glued to your chair making you feel dull? Worry not. Get your 5-minute weekly dose of travel around the world with postcards from nowhere. Join me every Thursday as I explore the strange, obscure, and fascinating parts of the world and bring out facets of travel you may not have thought of before. You can find us on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.